hit 2 in Hull. That's 2.
Quite normally this time of year, though.
Yeah. Yes, although it's been normal for ages, I'm ready for it not to be normal, if you don't mind.
I'll just say, Thursday, Friday, you will start to feel that warmth.
Okay, that's really nice. Yeah.
Good.
Good. Okay, still to come on Good Morning Britain. They only met for a few seconds to take a selfie, but 2 years later, Brad Burton was subjected to relentless online attacks, falsely accused of harassment, and he was stalked for 4 years. He's a motivational speaker, that's what he's doing there on stage. He'll tell us about the devastating effect that this stalking episode has had on his life. This is before 8 o'clock.
Plus 6.
His story. It was a very brief meeting that lasted just for a matter of seconds. How long it takes you to take a selfie. But 2 years on, a motivational business speaker, Brad Burton's life was completely turned upside down when he's subjected to attacks online and years of stalking by that person. Brad, we're sharing this story next.
First of all, I want to go and have a look at the weather with Alex.
Right, so for motivational business speaker Brad Burton, meeting fans and taking selfies after delivering one of his talks is absolutely par for the course. It's what you do at these events.
True, but one of those brief encounters in 2019 led to Brad becoming stalked and harassed by a woman who falsely claimed he was a psychopath, an abuser, even accused him of poisoning her cat. Now, we're going to speak to Brad in a moment. First of all, here is Will Godley with the story.
Please welcome to the stage, Brad Burton.
He calls himself the UK's #1 motivational business speaker.
The first person you've got to convince of your brilliance is you.
But a brief meeting with someone who went to one of his workshops turned into a 4-year stalking ordeal that left him fearing for his career. 2 years after this encounter, Sam Wolf flooded social media with false allegations against Brad Burton.
He's poisoning the cat. He's giving me death threats every day. He's threatening me. He's put my windows through. He's slashed me tyre. What?
The 55-year-old calling Brad a psychopath, manipulative, and describing herself as a victim of his illegal behaviour.
She was painting a picture that somewhere along the way that I had done all these things and I was trying to cover it up.
Samuel's legal team says she underwent a psychiatric report that showed she had a chronic delusional mental health illness. She has pleaded guilty to charges of stalking and sending false messages, with the judge telling her to expect a prison sentence. A step forward in this saga that's not only hurt Brad, but his job and his family.
Amazing.
Yes, it is. Well, Brad Burton is here. Good morning to you. This is, because as a male victim of online stalking, it's not something you hear about all that often, actually. That's one of the reasons you want to talk about it, isn't it?
I think so. You know, there's a less than 2% conviction rate. Less than 2%. And the amount of work that we had to do to get here, that's why I want to share the story so that other people that are going through this right now will find the strength and the courage for them to kind of fight back as well.
Do you remember the moment when you met her? I mean, it was so short. It was a selfie.
Right.
Did you have? I mean, can you even recall it? Did you have any sense, if you can, as to whether there was anything odd about it?
No. And that's the scary thing about this. You know, somebody that I literally met for 30 seconds, and then we had 4 years of my life being dominated by this, because what would happen is I would kind of follow all the instructions to block, to ignore, and then I'd wake up with well-meaning people saying, have you seen what she's wrote about you?
But just on that first moment, because you're kind of, if you do these kind of speaking things, you do loads of selfies at the end, it's what you do.
Right.
Did you even know who she was? Did you remember it at all?
No. Largely unimpressible.
And so just give us a flavour then of how serious this became for you, in the sense that people that you knew, people that were in the business world, who trusted you, knew you, liked you, were almost checking that you hadn't. Have you poisoned someone's cat, Brad? I mean, they're asking you direct questions about who you are as a person based on all of the vile things. She was plastering absolutely everywhere at a phenomenal rate.
Right. So if you think about an influencer, the way that social media works, you know, it's all very positive. This was almost like a reverse influencer. everything that I did was being put through a negative filter, malignant. So some of the things that she said that I did, I poisoned the cat, I put a tracking device on her, I was giving her death threats daily, I've slashed the tyres, her windows were putting through, and she was painting this picture with photographs and so forth. And the way that she did it was that at first she said, you know, I'm being harassed. And everyone piled on the next day, it's a high-profile speaker, the next day it's a high-profile motivator.
So she builds up the momentum and builds up sympathy for herself with whoever her friends and family were in that circle.
What do you think? We know the government's got an objective to reduce violence against women and girls. We know that stalking is often a first step towards what can become violent or dangerous. In your case, this person wasn't trying to physically hurt you. It wasn't about violence. It was actually psychological. Do you think, as a society, we take stalking less seriously when it's not man on woman with a sort of more violent intent?
I think there's a case to answer here, and what I mean by that is that as a man, to have gone through this, it's been hard, and I mean that sincerely. You know, it's nothing to do with physical, it's to do with mental. You get somebody who kind of takes over your brain, and I had to use everything that I know, every skill that I know, every talent to defend myself and to keep myself to mentally sound. I think for me, the social media companies, the fact that those posts are still on social media is scary. You know, they don't tolerate harassment or bullying.
They're still up to date.
Yes. And so they don't, you know, the social media platforms don't tolerate harassment and bullying. Yet you've got convicted, stalker, harassment, and yet the post is still up there. Why is that? It doesn't make any sense.
Was it the social media companies? Was it the police? Is it our society taking a non-physically violent stalking less seriously?
Ed, I think it's a combination of all those things. I really do. And I think that this is it. This is a perfect storm. Because this woman, quite frankly, should not be in this situation. The social media companies have failed her, because if they deplatformed her when I asked them to, she wouldn't go to court.
And just to be clear, the kind of lengths you had to go to prove your innocence, if you like, to all those people who you had a big social media following, because that's your job essentially. You sort of had to take photographs of yourself with the day's newspaper to go, I am not in prison. Because she was saying to people, you've gone to prison.
And I've also got a twin. And I was
so you've got a twin who was masquerading as you at these events.
That's right, and the same tattoos and the same haircut. But you know, the reality is that I think there's been a massive failure on so many fronts on this one. That actually, but we need to learn the lessons from it. We need to learn the lessons from it. The social media companies need to learn the lessons from it. And I did say to them at the time, hey, if this was you or one of your family, would you have acted differently? And they, well, of course they would have. And that's what I think they need to look at that. If this was them, if this was their family member that was being targeted in this manner, what would they do? Because that is exactly what should happen to both me and the other victims. Let's be quite clear here. There's female victims in all this as well.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And the online safety bill is partly to do with this, isn't it?
Have you spoken to Jess Phillips, the Home Office Minister? You know, she's done amazing campaigning about violence against women and girls and stalking. But I think, you know, that she would take your story also very, very seriously. It is different, but it's an important conversation to have, because it doesn't all have to be about trying to harm, or at least the harm in your case was not. I don't think you ever felt that you were going to be attacked.
Oh, we absolutely did. I've set up an alarm system and a camera system at home as a result of it, and we actually got the services of a security guy to do that and to secure the property.
Did she ever try to attack you?
No, but what happened is, because of the nature of it, it was almost like a modern day witch hunt. They had people on social media that were coming for me, that were saying they're going to do things to me.
And also, when somebody's so unpredictable, you don't know what their next move might be, and that's the fear that it puts in your mind about, am I safe when I leave my house? Where is this person?
And I think the other thing about this is also, it's not just me, it was my family, my business colleagues. You know, I think if it wasn't for the journalists that picked this up, I would have been in trouble, because
well, it's really good to talk to you, Brad, and if you've been affected by any of those issues we've been discussing, you can find advice and support at itv.com/helpline. I'm very glad the ordeal is over for you.
And thank you for telling the story.
Yeah.
It's important to do that, so we appreciate it. Competition time, you could win
As you'll see in the next bit of video, I was one of those journalists, albeit I wasn't conventional print media or televisual media, but back in 2022 I started to investigate this, originally with the intention of exposing Brad Burton, and then uncovered all the evidence that proved everything he was saying was true and everything the stalker was saying was untrue. And in this next bit of video I explain a little bit more about that and how I obtained documents from the land registry and also got emails from the police, and then I got accused by his stalker Sam Wall of those emails being forged by me, and she started posting defamatory and vindictive comments about me all over the internet because I'd stuck my head above the pit, as it were, to expose the fact that she was a liar, and Brad Burton, Naomi Timpley and Justine and other victims were exactly that, victims and completely innocent of everything they were accused of.
Hundreds of thousands of people are stalked online every year.
These stories can sound outlandish, but actually that is just how these stalking campaigns work.
We've been investigating one online stalker.
Only me. I hate doing videos.
In this short video, I'm going to reveal to you how I was involved in helping the general public realise that Brad Burton, Naomi Timpley, Justine and others were victims of Samantha Wall, the person in the Panorama My Online Stalker as broadcast today.
Thousands of abusive messages.
Was it tough on your family, all of this?
Of course it was. Of course it was.
Told malicious lies.
I didn't want to do anything after that. I have to carry on.
And that's just the tip of a massive iceberg. You really would be wise to search out BBC iPlayer for My Online Stalker as broadcast on the 31st of March 2025. It's available now for the next year if you're in England. If you're outside England, you'd need to use NIS. They're called ISPs to make it look like you're in England so that it will then let you watch it. Or you may find sometimes they put things on YouTube a couple of days after on the BBC Panorama's YouTube site. 31st of March 2025. Tonight at 8 p.m. United Kingdom time on British television station BBC, Panorama's investigative news programme will broadcast My Online Stalker. It's also available to watch right now online and for the next year at bbc.co.uk/programmes/M0029TY1 or search online for BBC iPlayer and then Panorama and the episode for 31st of March 25, My Online Stalker. Around 600,000 people a year report online stalking and harassment to the police in England and Wales. So what does it feel like to be one of the victims? Panorama investigates one extraordinary case. A businesswoman who ruined lives by posting thousands of abusive messages. For more than a decade, she targeted other business people and falsely accused them of crimes ranging from slashing her tyres to killing her cat. Reporter Dara McIntyre meets the victims who have been publicly vilified. They don't know why they were targeted and they haven't been able to get the messages taken down. One of those victims featured in the programme was British motivational speaker Brad Burton. And another victim is tech industry expert and leader Naomi Timpley. There were other victims such as Justine, who you'll see on the programme. There's this BBC News story, it'll be at the link above or below, mentions. They literally met for 30 seconds, then she stalked him for 4 whole years. For more on the story, I recommend visiting bradburton.biz/stalker. Again, the link will be above or below this video. On that page, as well as letters from the police, you will also see emails. Now on there, who they were sent to is redacted, but I can tell you they were sent to me, Alex William Smith, better known as Jonathan Royal Hypnotist. Email number 1 and another email, which I managed to acquire from Wayne Hasselby, the police officer who was dealing with this, to clearly confirm, well, in the case of the first email, to confirm, as it does, my apologies for the dual name above. Well, the reason for that is because I'd put Alex William Smith and Jonathan Royal names at the end of the email. You have signed the main text of your request as Jonathan, however, the contact details as Alex. With regards to your request, I can confirm the following. The letters are 100% genuine and factually correct. Mr. Burton is not being investigated by Greater Manchester Police nor any other police force. He's currently a victim of crime in an ongoing investigation. After I had posted this on the internet to prove that what Brad was saying was true and that what Samantha Wall was saying was complete lies, I became a target for her lies, defamatory comments and such like, basically claiming that I'd forged police emails, which is why I contacted the police again to confirm that they were indeed and are indeed 100% genuine and factually correct. You can see them on bradburton.biz/stalker. On the BBC News article, link above or below this video, it is today, the 31st of March 2025, reported that Wall, aged 55, a social media consultant, pleaded guilty to charges of stalking and sending false messages at Manchester Magistrates Court last November. Her sentencing was delayed for a second time last week, but the judge told her to expect a prison sentence. Wall's legal team said a psychiatric report showed she has a chronic, delusional mental health illness. Her conviction was in relation to two victims, Brad Burton and businesswoman Naomi Timpley, who were targeted with abusive messages over the past 4 years. It's just been hideous, really hideous, and I don't know why it happened, Naomi tells us. I'm still really anxious, sometimes I get really sad. BBC Panorama has spoken to other victims who say they were stalked by Wall over a period of more than 10 years. Some had never met Wall, while others only knew her as a passing acquaintance. And still, the messages have not been removed from Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn or other social media platforms where the vindictive, defamatory comments were posted. As you'll guess by now, the female tech influencer did get her arrested, and quite rightly so. This is one of many, many things that appeared on LinkedIn and then got linked to on Twitter, on Facebook and numerous other social media platforms, and in most cases are still there. The social media platforms need to do better. Within that, Sam Wall talks about flying monkeys and accuses Brad and her other victims of having a core gang of people who are gaslighting and lying, which is just complete and utter madness. And within that, she clearly says, giving the link to images of the emails I obtained from Greater Manchester Police, that I, in my birth name Alex Smith, a mate of the motivational psychopath, heavily began targeting me. He's played an integral part of forging law enforcement paperwork, apparently. And then apparently I've been, according to her, harassing her and such like, which of course again, complete and utter nonsense and lies. On that same post, as you can see, yes, I was on the internet insisting that the motivational, he's not a motivational psychopath, one of the nicest people you meet, Brad Burton, and I was insisting he was not in prison due to the fact that he was not in prison, and also due to the fact that he does not have a twin brother. Did I kind of label her as the biggest fantasist of 2022? No doubt I did at the time, due to the fact that I'd done my investigation research and proved that she was blatantly lying about things like properties being sold and Brad being involved and such like. And there we go again. defamatory, untrue allegations of me falsifying law enforcement paperwork. She then has the audacity to falsely claim that I was aggressively attacking her on all her social media platforms against posts where I recount, as she says, my decade of abuse, well, non-existent, whilst simultaneously publicly calling me a liar directly to my work colleagues and a few friends I've actually known for over 40 years of life, and attacking them rudely, aggressively if they don't agree. This misogynistic man, Alex Smith, is a henchman for the motivational psychopath. He has heavily targeted me across all social media platforms under two separate names. Yeah, Alex Smith and Jonathan Rowe, just depends the name on the account. And once blocked, has gone on to set up new social media accounts purely so he can carry on targeting me. Completely untrue. The fact is, when she claimed that Brad had been sent to prison, he hadn't. And the reason for that is because he was the victim. Again, just because I actually had the due diligence to contact the police and get 2 emails confirming that none of the things that Samantha Wall was claiming had any validity whatsoever, and just because I went to the land registry, paid money and got documents to confirm allegations about Brad being involved in property deals with properties related to Samantha Wall, again, complete and utter fabricated nonsense. Because of that and the fact that I made it publicly known on social media, I get branded apparently as being someone who's harassing her and threatening her. No, all I ever did, and they're still there on social media, I post links to images of proof from the police, genuine emails confirming that Brad, Naomi and others such as Justine were and are indeed victims of the vindictive, delusional, defamatory nonsense posted over a period of years about them on social media that sadly, currently today, the 31st of March 2025, still remains. Hopefully the broadcast of BBC's Panorama programme will lead to the social media networks taking these things down. Hundreds and hundreds of posts and articles, not just on LinkedIn, but also then posted with links on Facebook, Twitter and other social media platforms. This one from 2023, you'll notice, he found evidence Alex Smith, who's still targeting me with Brad's fraudulent GMP docs, has already done a prison sentence for serious fraud years earlier. A tiny grain of truth there. What you mean is the fake shake stuff that's openly in the public domain. You didn't have to dig for that because I've got a website up, circusofthemind.net, where the full evidence is up, and most recently, end of 2024, I got compensation from News Group newspapers for their illegal actions towards me in relation to that. Somebody, I have no idea who, managed to get my Clear Thoughts Mentalismhypnosis.wordpress.com blog removed, but if you copy and paste the links, if you find them on social media, into Web Archive, the pages are still there, and this person had shared a link where I had the emails to prove that Brad, Naomi and Justine were the victims, and that Sam had posted defamatory, untrue lies, and lo and behold, she responds. I love the way Royal, that's my stage name, has a link to his career underneath his blogs. I have a link to my career on every page of my blog. I did. That's what my blog's about. Fool. Trying to twist things again. There were a lot more posts on various social media platforms accusing me either as Alex Smith or my stage name Jonathan Royal, or both, of forging police emails, of being a paid henchman for Brad Burton, for apparently harassing her, even been accused of threatening her, all of which is nonsense. The evidence out there speaks for itself, and indeed I had to get the police involved on a couple of occasions. They did not press charges against her in relation to her attacks on me, which happened over a period of a number of months once I was as you can see on the things I've shown you in like 2023, confirming that Brad, Naomi, Justine and others were the victims and that Samantha Wall was the delusional stalker. But they did go and warn her. But you know, at the end of the day, I did the right thing. Journalistically, the truth is that originally I saw stuff that was apparently purporting to be very, very serious allegations against Brad Burton, and I was intending originally to do a podcast or similar to expose the British motivational speaker Brad Burton, which was such a great shame because I'd already read all his books, and you'll see on YouTube, on my Celebrity Hypnotist YouTube channel, my review of his book saying they are must reads for any human being. You really should have a look at Get Off Your Arse and the other books by Brad Burton. However, I did something that a proper journalist does. I investigated, and I didn't just take things at face value, and I went and spent money with the land registry and got documents about the property that Samantha Wall was saying Brad Burton was involved in dodgy land and building dealings with, and I contacted the police and I obtained 2 different emails confirming that everything that Brad said was true and that there was no truth whatsoever in any of the vindictive, twisted allegations made on various social media platforms by Samantha Wall towards Brad Burton, towards Naomi, Timpley, towards Justine, or indeed towards me or other victims. And then I published these in the public domain to make the truth known, which made me become a target for Sam Wall's lies, defamatory comments, and taking tiny grains of the truth, in my case, the fact that, yeah, I have had a prison sentence in the past. But as you can see at circusofthemind.net and on my website magicalguru.com, at the links above or below this video, it was in relation to Rupert Murdoch's fake Sheikh Mazza Mahmood, a backfired attempt to expose his dishonesty and his lies back in 1998. Because for the past 27 years, in one way or the other, I've along the way done what I can to expose the truth about injustices, lies, and various things, including my documentary, Extreme Danger, Extreme Hypnosis, which you can also see on my website, magicalguru.com. So there you have it. Tonight, BBC, Panorama, My Online Stalker. I'm not on the documentary, but as I say, for the reasons outlined in this video, I am very interested that everyone should see it and lobby your MPs to do more to encourage the social media platforms to take down things that are untrue. The fact is, Sam Wall's already pleaded guilty to the 5 counts. That alone should immediately have meant that LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter and the other social media platforms removed her defamatory post. In fact, closed down her accounts in full. But no, they still haven't at the time of this video. Bye for now.